Okay, just call back then. All right. So, hey everybody, how you doing? This is Janine with Turn the Page, and if this is the first time you're actually seeing me, welcome, and please share, like, and subscribe. Doing a show with Jacque Chapman today. We're also on the air. We have it just started. We're live right now, and that number is at the bottom of my screen and also right below my name, and it's 563-999-3717. We're just waiting for the co-host to appear any minute now, and we're working the kinks out, if you will. And I'm really grateful that she's helping me out with this because we want to hear your voice, and we also want to hear from Jacque too. And we're going to be talking about animal care and a lot of other things. And let me just see if I got her in there. Yes, Ao, everything is really good. And I think Jacque just came in. Hello, Jacque. I can hear you okay. If anybody is out there and cannot hear her, please let me know whether you're on YouTube or on Rumble. She's soft spoken, but she carries a big stick of energy. So, Jacque, what are we going to talk about today? All right. So I'm excited about it too. And I'm just going to check. We've only got YouTube. I did change the time on it. So again, Janine does that. I juggle different times and I get confused. So I had three of my applications set up at the right time, and YouTube was not. So AO says no, you can't hear. You can't hear Jacque. If you guys could just help me out a little bit. Let me also run over to Rumble and see if there's any issues over there. Let me get out of this one. And I don't know why they can't hear her. I've got everything turned up. So let me just unplug. How are you feeling today, Jacque? Jacque, can you hear us? All right, we're just working out some audio difficulties right here. All right. Jacque, can you hear me? I'm going to plug in whatever I unplugged because I think I lost her. Jacque, can you hear me? This is awful. This is the second time this has happened to her. And I'm looking to bring somebody in to help us out. All right. Jacque, can you hear me? Can't hear Jacque. I can hear you, but not her. She's not saying anything at the moment. Let me see here. So let me explain this. Jacque is on our radio station, and I'm trying to bring her into the social media. We thought we were going to try this route because we had a hard time hearing her through the social media. So I'm not sure why we can't hear her. Let me just check my settings one more time because I'm making changes on the fly. And yeah, we can't hear you. Oh shoot. I'm going to tell her I'm going to hang up. I'm going to hang up. Oh, this is kind of a pain in my ass. All right, so I'm going to hang up on her, and maybe she can come back in, and maybe this will work. I apologize to you guys. There's nobody out on Rumble right now, so it's the ones that are out here. I see Tara's about the only one in AO. AO is out here in the house, and I really want to hear from Jackie today. I'm telling you, you guys, I have these phone conversations where she's just blowing my mind with information, but we can't get her to come across. So I thought I'd try a different route and said, okay, well, social media, we couldn't hear you. Hardware problems. So let's just go through the radio, and thought that that would work. So please bear with me, have patience. And let me just see. Hello, 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 hello. I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear. Dang it. All right, hold on 1 second. I'm going to try one other setting. I am really sorry about this. Let's try it this way. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? You're not coming through. Yeah, can you hear the Blog Talk Radio? Hello, hello. Son of a gun. All right. Well, how about if uh I know Shelly's hearing me. You guys, we have Jackie on the radio here. Let me just try this here. It worked. It worked before we went live. Can you hear me, Jackie? Jackie, can you hear me? This is crazy. Jackie. All right. For some reason, hi, Jackie. I'm really sorry about this. They could not hear you. We can hear you going testing, testing. I could hear that. Oh, well. I have no idea why Spirit doesn't want you to be heard, because your voice needs to be heard here.
So am I can I be heard now, or
I'm actually going to close out a Blog Talk Radio, and
okay.
Let's just see if we get something back here.
So interesting.
It is very interesting. I had you earlier, so let me just end this episode. End the episode. It'll free up everything. Goodbye. Oh, they are British, that's for sure. All right, so I'm going to put you over by the mic here, and I'm going to turn up my phone, and I'm not expecting anyone to call in today. So don't call this number, because I just disconnected it. It worked fine. The last guest, I think it did. So I'm just going to put you down, and you start talking, and they will let me know whether or not they can hear you. Go for it.
Okay, so I hope this works. It is really interesting that these shows tend to be whatever this energy is. This morning, when you and I were speaking on our conversation, I would like to just invite that space to show up with us here today in this show, and just have an ability to play with the energies that are present. Animals, for all of us, and please let me know if you can hear me, or if you're getting feedback that they can hear me.
I'm getting feedback that they can hear you, so I'm taking my banner down. No callers tonight, but
okay,
we'll get this figured out. I got to get Janie Lynn on board with me and doing this technology, because you know what? I've seen this happen where there's like 6 powerful women in a chat and nothing works. So.
I remember years ago I taught some classes in Israel, And I remember that when I came back, that it was a big class and the people were so excited for a follow-up couple of Zooms we were going to do. And this was at the beginning of when Zoom was first beginning. And I'll tell you what, we got on that call and nothing would work. It just was a great big like shushing noise, even though it hadn't been until it was time for the call. And it's interesting because I look at it now and I'm like, wow, there was just a lot of high energies happening and good information to move through it, right? And play with it where it's kind. So animals are a bridge to our own awareness, and they're playing a huge role right now in helping humanity bring in the new energies. And here today, nothing that I'm saying or is being said is intended to cure, diagnose, or treat anything. This is for your awareness only. And I'm going to be asking a lot of questions. And I welcome questions from the listeners. And and Janine also, if there's any spaces where you want to play with what was said this morning or more into that, please feel free to jump in. It feels like I've been asked to do a high dive off of a board without any practice. Every time you and I get on the phone together or on these shows together, it's really interesting.
It is interesting. And I said the conversations that we have, we need to record it because they blow my mind in where we go. And we can't duplicate it for whatever reason. Maybe it's just we're ahead of our time right now. So we'll get this worked out. And like I said, I'll get help with people that can figure this out. It was working, and I'm going to have Lance on Thursday. We'll see if that works. And I did add one piece of equipment which was the headset, and I thought, okay, that'll work. But we're good here. So. Everybody at home, if you're listening here or on Rumble, just sit back and listen to what Jackie has to share. She channels some awesome information. Go ahead, Jackie.
Okay. So I'd like you to think about the best version of you and yours. And I'm speaking about, when I say yours, it's anything or anyone that is kind for you in your body, that cares for you, that nurtures you, that you care for deeply. That's you and yours. And on the physical level, the best version is bright eyes, muscle tone. If it's a horse, it's dapples. People, skin is clear. A balanced gait, there's great balance. There's strong or strength, a correct posture. And the list goes on. It's like just when you're feeling good, it's like there is a whole different energy than when you're not feeling good, right?
Right.
So, yeah. And the other thing that was showing up as you're talking, that these conversations can't be duplicated, is that it's almost like everything else gets to be shut out so we can have the conversations even here or whatever, like as if we're just talking. Like this morning. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make a lot of sense. We're just going to have a conversation. We're not, it's going to go smooth.
Yes. So, so I'd like to ask, what have you been shown that you can acknowledge today as I talk? Because a lot of times as I relay a lot of these different stories and spaces to play in with the animals, it's like, what have you been shown that you actually weren't even aware of that you were aware of? Like in the spaces you occupy now, you have a lot more information, a lot more knowledge, a lot more confidence in what you do know. And the animals just move us further down the road in that space. So some of you, it may be a reflection back on, oh yeah, I remember that, or oh, that makes sense. So many animals take on the diseases of their owners and their families. One story in particular, I had a client who's, this was years ago, she had a horse that was named Buttons, and Buttons had cancer of the eye. And she had tried all these different things and, the different variety of things that nothing seemed to be touching what was going on for the horse. And one day she came to me and she said, I'm kind of feeling really sad because I don't want to put him down. He's a really nice animal. And, I do care for him, but I don't know when is enough for her.
Whoa, we just lost her.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Wow.
Okay. Where did where did I leave off for you?
You was just a second ago. So, and then he just went dead. Wow, this is weird. All right, I'm gonna try to just pull my energy. Maybe you can. Maybe it's something that's between me and you. We have to try to figure this out. But go ahead with your story, and I'm just going to visualize something right now. So go ahead.
Okay, and let me know if I need to stop. So, anyways, this horse, she wasn't sure when to make the call. When enough was enough on the trying and trying to help the animal get better. And at the time, one of my sons was going to be coming home. He's pretty handy with animals and pretty amazing in his intuition. And I was able to see that she could receive what he had to say. Like sometimes in the space of healing and in sessions, always the space is very large for the receiving if there's going to be any kind of healing happening. It's a huge space of receiving. And I had gotten clear that he was a possibility to talk to her. So I invited her and said, look, he's going to be in town in a few weeks. And if you want, he can come and, come out and look at your horse and maybe give you some information on what's going on. And so she agreed to that. And I took my son out there, on the date of the appointment. And as we were driving out there, he was asking about, is this the place? Because it was kind of out in the country. And I'd say no. He'd be like, oh, good, because the energy is really bad on this land, a big piece of ranch parcel. So when we finally got to the place where the horse was, we pulled up into the driveway, and this horse was sitting at the top of a little hill off to the side of the road in a pen with a small shed. And it was kind of all by itself there. And he went out to go talk to the horse. But the parents, the mom and dad, had an argument right before we arrived, apparently. And so the horse was having none of the conversation. It didn't want to talk to anybody. It just wanted to be left alone. And so it wouldn't even let the owners catch it. It just kept trotting around and around. So finally the owners caught him. But even then, he wouldn't stand still enough for my son to even stand next to him to talk to him. So I asked them to please let me just move his energies a little bit to smooth things out. And then he was just like butter. He just calmed right down and allowed my son to sit next to him and speak with him. And started asking the family, the mom and the dad, if the horse was attached to anybody in the family, and do you have children? And just kind of questions as he's getting the information. And I'm letting him just be in this space and seeing where it's going to go. It was really interesting because when he got in the car with me, he looked at me and he said, Mom, it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter if they have, essentially, if Jesus Christ himself was here to fix the horse. Like, it wouldn't matter if you had the most miraculous products ever. That's not going to matter. He said, there's a boy, and he said, the boy is like behind plexiglass. I can't reach him. I can't talk to him. He won't let me speak to him. But if the family doesn't change what's happening with this, the horse will die. And it was just really profound because it was like the energies the horse was willing to transmutate for that family were huge. And they weren't able to receive the information, right? At the time. And it's just really interesting because our animals do so much for us that often we don't even know. We don't realize it until years later down the road as to what their messages were, what their information is. but they're constantly taking care of our own bodies, us too, and we get to be the ones to be aware of what's creating with the animal. We had a kitty once, we called her our healing kitty, and we finally had to take her job away, like give her a different job, because she was so intent on taking on all of these energies for others. It would make her very, very sick. And I don't know if you've ever had that, Janine, but it's like that space of the animals taking care of us is huge.
Yeah, if I could just share a short story there, just to agree with you totally, as I did a lot of healing work when I was in my early 30s, and I had this machine called the body scan, and I worked for a chiropractor to scan the body and everything. But then people would come to me, and actually it got to the point of a lot of illnesses, a lot of really sick people would come into the house. My golden retriever, my other golden retriever, not this one, obviously, would sit outside the door, and she was taking on too much helping the people because she decided that was her job. It was to take some of it from them. And when she saw a child, that came in for screenings and stuff like that. And I actually, at the time, I was learning the Akashic Records, and my teacher was staying with me while he was teaching a lot of people back home. And he turned and he looked at me and said, we've got to work with your dog. She's getting sick. It's not her job. You've got to tell her it's not her job to take this sickness. I mean, there were, you name the disease that they were coming in. And finally I said to her, please stop doing this. We'll find something else for you to do. So what I did is I set up my big amethyst that I always used to have up, and it stood quite high, and I put it by the front door, and I said, you will greet them and help send that energy to them as they come in. And
awesome.
She agreed to do that.
I love it. Right. And so you were able to just divert it to something different, but it's still a very important job for them.
Yeah, she really wanted to help these people, and she knew they were desperate because they weren't going the regular way of going to get the help. They had already done all that. They were basically told, what they're told. And so then they seeked me out. But yes, so I'm agreeing with you on that one 100%. Our animals definitely do take on. And so let's kind of go with that a little bit further, is that we may not even realize how much that we're affecting them and that they are taking it. And I could tell you that one time with the puppy that I have now, she knows, like, when I'm really stressed out, she takes a beeline and starts running back to her little safe space, which is her crate. And I was watching her, and I'm like, she's picking up my energy. I didn't, really raise my voice or anything, but she knows me now, and she knew there's something that I was upset. So it's that subtle.
Yeah. Well, and they are, and the subtleties that you're speaking to are exactly what most of us tend to let go by. The animals don't, but we've just been. We're coming out of that space of separation and into the space of connection. The animals have always had the connection. I did notice a couple of years ago that the connections are heightened with the animals even more so just in the last few years than they've ever been. I don't know if you see that also.
Well, let's just put it this way. Yes, I have, and I've actually have spoken with Gene Decode about this in the past, offline, private. They are really coming in, and I think from what I am told is that some of them are coming back even faster once they leave. They don't have as long as life. They're coming back as humans.
Yeah, and that's actually a great space to. I also wanted to talk a little bit today about animals and what they teach us in death. You and I had touched on this a little bit today, and boy, how do I want to bring this in? It's kind of like I think everyone who's ever put an animal down at the vets knows in their heart of hearts that there's something about the whole thing that isn't correct. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so when you're about ready to say goodbye, and we only have really one choice, and that is to go to the vet, and we know the process. This is a two-step process, and so we're ahead of time. We've been planning up to that point to say goodbye, but we really can't let go, right? Those energetic cords are still there, right?
Well, not only that, but it's like there's been so much justification around so many different medical terminologies and things that we've been told to do in the past that it's as if there isn't any other possibility. And that's what I'm pointing out. Like I'm just kind of gently pointing in the direction of the gift the animals give us even goes to that space in their death. It's one of the best examples I ever had was I had a horse that had definitely was in a situation that I knew it was highly possible she was going to have to be put down. And I had called a friend of mine that I was, considered great information on, what to do and what was the best way to do this. And she just said, she'll let you know, she'll let you know. And she said something like, how did she put it? Animals don't think about death the same way we do. Like they're okay to go. And so I never forgot that. Well, a couple years later, after that space, my horses out in the back were in their pens and they were just running around and around and around and around. And I was looking out the kitchen window going, what in the world is going on out there? So I went outside and I could hear the neighbor's ranch across the way, the cows. They had hundreds of cows and calves, and the cows were mooing and mooing and mooing. It was very different. And the horses were running around and around and around and whinnying, and everybody was upset. Everybody, the horses, the cows next door. And then as soon as the first rifle shot came out, because they were actually harvesting some of the cows, the first rifle shot, everybody went silent. The horses stopped running. Everybody quit. It was as if they were saying, no, 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 no. And then boom, boom, boom. And I think they probably shot 12 times or something.
They got to shoot that many times?
Yeah. Well, they were either taking, the heifers. I don't know which cows, but they were taking the ones selected for shooting that day. Okay. So I remember getting right back with my friend. And I told her what had happened. I said, I thought you said they're okay to die. And she's like, well, when it's consciously done, she said, I have friends, they get 2 calves every year to raise for beef. And every year when those cows come on the property, they tell the calves, we're going to feed you and take care of you to the best of our ability. And one day you'll feed us. And so it's already a done deal. But the animals are prepared. And then the day of harvest, the animals are given prayers and gratitude, for the gift they are. And they go very quietly, she said.
Yeah, they do.
And so,
yeah. So I mentioned in their phone conversation that my dog died. It was like New Year's Eve, 1 o'clock in the morning, went into sleep. And you know what? I was okay with that. It was almost as if I said 18 years of full love to me, and I was okay with it. And I just I actually had him in the room where I was at, and I laid down and I just did a prayer. I laid with him, and then afterwards, I was like so tired. I went to sleep, and I knew he was going to be gone before I woke up, and this is exactly what happened. There was at one point where they just, and I had a cat that died at home also. They let out this, it's almost like their last breath, like the cat went, wow, and the dog just went, roar, like that. And, there's something with that you don't get when you go to the vet.
Yeah. Well, and I had a goat, her name was Star, and of all the goats I've had, about 15 years old, they just die. And they just go. They're, one morning you wake up and they're gone. There's no drama. And anyway, but Star was a little different. And when she hit old age, she wasn't going with ease, and she wasn't suffering, but she wasn't, like getting up and going and running to play. She was in her little stall, not going anywhere. And so it had been a few days, and I had, water and food there for her, and just kind of wondering what to do for her. My son called me from the stall one morning, and he said, "Mom, have you seen her today?" I said, "Yes." And he said, "Well, you need to change this. You need to come out here and do something different." And I was like, "All right." So I went out there and I looked at her for a little while, and I was like, what can I do to help her pass more easily? That was what I was thinking. And then the modality that I used was something that would just balance the whole body out. And she immediately got up, ran out to play, drank all her water, ate her food. And for 2 weeks, she was bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, chewing her cud, just living her best goat life. And then one day I came out and she was gone. And I thought, what a great lesson. She actually, because she felt good through till the end, she was able to just enjoy herself rather than, suffering.
Yeah.
And what a lesson, that we're born healthy and we can die healthy, and death can be a choice. And I think that's the lie that we have been told for so long, is that it's not a choice. It's like, it's out of our hands. And I don't
everything is a lie. I was just telling you earlier, I found out that the way we do math, and how many times they have to switch that up, but why is it all, it's just, everything is just a lie with from birth to death, right?
Yeah. And how much of the lies do the animals actually help us expose?
Oh, a lot. You have to be really tuned in, and that's why everybody has animals, right? That I think that they have prolonged our life. I truly believe that. If anybody else has any comments out on Rumble or YouTube, and you want to share, if there's people out there that don't have animals, that are never exposed to them, that just it's so hard to believe. I know when I was very young, we didn't have any animals, any pets, until I became a very young adult, got out on my own, and I've had so many of them.
Yeah, they make a huge difference, and they also allow us to connect and ground with our own energy, right? And to get present. And yeah, they're such a gift on so many levels. And you and I had started to talk about this a little bit today, but it's like how much of what is happening right now on the planet is this space of awareness required now more than ever. Because how many of the subtleties of the lies and truth has mainstream media been able to play on? And a lot of us are able to see through it. And then there's those, that maybe are feeling tired, and, that things, should be different. It's like, what if right now is the time to actually step into all of who and what you truly be, and know what you know. Be aware of what's actually creating right now. Ask the questions. Be willing to have the awareness. We've been raised in the space of really not being willing to have the awareness. It's been kind of like, if I have all of the awareness, I'm going to be aware of all of the yucky stuff too. Yeah, that's part of being conscious. And it doesn't have to mean anything in your path. It's simply information. It's
yeah. You're right. I'm going to go back to that. How much that we've been lied to about death. And if anybody recalls, there's just so many. I can't stand the thought to say this, but we've been experiments, and our animals have been experiments. There's a certain man out there that was just held in the high courts about experimenting on beagles, if you guys know what I mean. And it just goes on and on and on. The cruelty. I always wanted to believe that that I was going to somehow help humanity, and life is not what I've heard from generations after generations. And now we're at this pivotal point right now, and I kind of want to go there with you for just a minute. And a lot of people, how do I put this? A lot of people are at this point where they're basically are saying, I don't believe anything, I don't trust anything, I don't know I'll see it when I see it, that type of thing. And I kind of want to take a step back from that and just talk a little bit more about how self-empowering and how powerful we are. We talked about that earlier. Do you recall how powerful?
Yeah, this is actually a critical moment in time. You know, we have all come out of a space of not being willing to be fully aware of what's going on around us, underneath us, above us. We have been denying it for a long time. And it was a lot of it was the conditioning, you know, it was the way it was. And I would just challenge everyone that's looking at here now, that's being present here now. Number one, the news that we're hearing, much of it is past tense. And I'm going to leave it right there, just a big clunk. That I challenge you to check in and see if it's actually current or if it's past tense information. And well,
right there is a key thing. So let me just tell you, there's a lot of people out there that have been bamboozled. That's the best word that I can come up with. And they're constantly going to be bamboozled until we figure out how to truly see through. And so there's going to be people at different levels. How about if I say it that way?
Well, yes, and it becomes a space of knowing what you know. Like, it's kind of like, I remember years ago I was on the Yellowstone River. I did a night of glamping in a teepee right on the river. And in the morning I was having my coffee, and across the river this huge young bald eagle came and landed in a treetop. And then a little while later, past the treetop comes down the river its mother. And as she flew by him, he gave her that little baby bird chirp, you know, like feed me. I don't know if you've ever paid attention to baby birds, but they have a very significant feed me cry that they give from the nest. So this bird was apparently just brand new out of the nest, and he really didn't know how to take care of himself. So when he made that little cry for help me, feed me, she went by and just called to him to follow her. So he came behind her, and then she went down the river a little ways, turned around, swooped down to the river, picked up a fish with him behind her watching the whole time, and then went to the top of the tree and sat with her fish. Now, she could only model for him what he needed to do for himself to survive. We are there now in humanity.
Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes, definitely.
Okay. So we are at that point. We can't do it for another person. The growth has to happen internally. The strength has to come from within for each person. And the only thing we can do is be the brilliance, the kindness, the joy, all the things that allow a body to thrive, allow a being to thrive.
Right.
Allow the earth to thrive. Yeah.
I'm just gonna show a little visual here. I've been showing pictures. I'm not sure if you're seeing this or not, but so we talk about being bamboozled, and this is really interesting. I love this little video. So let me just, I'll play it and let everyone take a look at it here for a second. But just to describe it to you, there is a hawk sitting in a little tree and sees a kitten inside a car window. Obviously, it's not hot. There is somebody in here videotaping this, and watch how this hawk gets bamboozled. I use that word so much, and when I saw that that's what they were describing this as, it's interesting because this hawk has a nature to kill, right? Didn't know how to get past that windshield. I'm not sure if you've got it open or not, Jackie.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah. Wow.
And little cat's like, I don't think I want any part of this. I'm just gonna like sneak away because yeah, and he's constantly trying to get the claws out, right? And can't get a grip. And the kitten's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go tuck in here with my dad.
Well, you know, what's interesting to me is how domesticated animals' energies are so different than wild animals.
Yeah.
There's a whole difference in that space. You know, it's like deer will not run from a herd of or a group of coyotes if the coyotes have been currently fed. If they're not hungry, the deer don't worry. The deer go into protecting their baby modes and, you know, and all the things when the group of coyotes is hunting and hungry. But as soon as their bellies are full, you'll see the deer laying around in the same fields, you know, relaxing, getting their sun and tan on, because they know that the coyotes aren't going to be hunting. So there's just a total difference in the wild energies and the domestic energies.
Well, I'm going to show another little video here. This is just being presented to me right now, but this is interesting. There's so many people out there that help the wild animals, right? And I'm always thinking about this. So let me see I don't know if I can blow this one up anymore. I will try, but if you guys can, let me take off Dragonfly's comment here. This might be the best that I can get on here. So this bald eagle is being released, and I love watching this stuff here. So he's kind of backing away slowly. I think that this is playing. There we go. Look at the wingspan. So they obviously that, and I'm so sick and tired of seeing people shoot at these beautiful, beautiful birds. And he's just finding his footing, you know, just to get out, and goes right over, goes right back to his or her nature, right?
Yeah.
So the bird is being released back into the wild. I think they're grateful for the humans when they help them, and then they just go back to being what they are.
Well, and how symbolic is that ego of each and every one of humanity right now? We have capacities beyond capacities that we've never even, that have not been spoken to before, that are coming online. And that beauty, that power of that ego taking off out of its enclosed space, right, is huge.
It's symbolic of us, like you said. Yes, it's us, and we have to. And so when we talk about I always go back to this. It's kind of like manifesting how powerful we are, and you have an elegant way of describing things, like you know, if we're talking through things, and for some reason, whenever I talk to you, I can see my issues, and I'm also seeing a solution to it a totally different way. And I don't know, this must be a gift of yours that you have. And I'm sure that you've been told this. Is that correct?
Yes. And I do find that sometimes even just my presence, though, opens up too much for people. Like they're so, and that can be without saying a word, right? And you'll find that with any gifts and capacities that you have, as you bring them online, as you open them up wider and greater, you know, that could actually be an adjutant to particular ones, especially ones that recognize the gifts and capacities, but they've never been willing to have it for themselves, their own gifts and capacities, which is a lot of fear space. And it's like, you know, I like to just say, what would it be like to just shine even brighter, you know, and play bigger? Because this is really just a space of play right now. There's so many possibilities that we have available to us for futures that we are creating that have never, ever, ever existed in the history of humanity before now. And it has to do with this space of the freedom that is coming in. And just that eagle was a great example.
And not only that too, but the information that's coming in. So we are getting a lot more information in so many different areas. I'm going to do a show on this once I find the time to do it. But what I'm seeing, and a lot of you guys probably are seeing it out there, about truth that's being revealed out on YouTube in so many different ways. You know, and I kind of want to bring this up. If anybody is sitting in front of a computer, or if you got your tablets at home, just Google or search for you know, in your own town, the underground sidewalks or cities, or the underneath the streets. It's everywhere. And so when people, I guess where I'm kind of getting off path here, but it's almost as if the way that we were processing information. So a lot of people only thought that there were tunnels just for a specific reason I can't go into because I'm on YouTube here. But there's so much history that we were not told about, and I'm seeing that history or the truth being brought through YouTube, and I'm amazed about how people are doing this, right? And so there's things out there. You just have to know what to look for, what to search, and keep doing it, because your version of the truth is going to obviously be your version of somebody else presents it to you. You're going to question it and then do your own research, but that's where we're at right now. Do you agree?
Yeah, nobody can do it for you. Nobody can do it for you.
Yeah. So, we're talking about the animals and everything like that. You can sit there and talk about everything that has been done to us, all the things that have been bad. But where I'm actually going with this is, what is it that we actually need to understand about ourselves, right? Our own self-empowerment. And I'm always bringing it back to that. If somebody thinks, why don't we use the money example that we talked about today?
Say more, remind me, because I'm just right on the edge of that conversation.
Yeah, so we were kind of talking about what things that we want to bring into our life, whether it's money or just anything that we've always wanted. And at this particular time, and money is one that everyone can relate to, but it's the way that you have to think about whether you're okay, go ahead, you got it.
Yeah, so it's like, again, if you look at what's on the world stage right now and what you actually are aware of, be aware, be aware, be aware, and really tap into the energies of where things are at now, because every single day, the energies are lightening up more and more. They're lighting up more and more. And the only thing that would hold you back right now is the monkey poop flying through the air. Because it's a mind game as well. And so, being aware of, if this is monkey poop or what do I actually know here? Is there a truth and the monkey poop attached to it? Just start to play from a different space of what you actually know. And I know we were talking too about, bringing online the fact that money isn't going to be an issue coming up. Our whole lives are about to change. And when that happens, it's like there's already spaces that I know I've tapped into, and I'm sure you have too, Janine, that maybe right now is not something you can have, and you can begin to create towards it. And what does that look like? And how kind is that energy? It could be a home. It could be part of a way you're functioning with your business, and what would be kinder ways to function with your business, and or whatever creations you have going on. So there's so many different aspects here that are available that never were available before now. And I do have another friend, and her and I send pictures of properties to each other and just call it dreaming, and it's like price point isn't the thing. When we're looking, it's like what actually captures your heart, what captures your imagination. Don't go by money. Your body doesn't go by the amount something costs. Your body goes by the thriving, by the vibrance, by the joy, and nothing less. And so, we've just been taught so long to be in our heads. It's like it's time to move all of the knowing into your heart space and begin to play from there.
So what she's basically saying is that, we're all taking care of our bodies. I know that I am right now. And I'm, you could tell by the way that my show has changed in the last 3 or 4 months. I have changed. I just feel really good. No more brain fog and stuff like that. So I'm fine tuning my temple, whatever you want to call it, my body, so that I can utilize it more for. And could you just, before we go before I ask you this question, I just wanted, do we have time for the dead clock? Is that
probably not today, because I actually would need to be able to share a screen on that part of the information that I wanted to share.
Okay, so I'm glad I asked that because
thank you.
I didn't want, because I know we talked about it. So with that said, in fine tuning our body and everything, can you just give us an example of when you talk about, we're all empathy, right? We all have empathy. We can feel it. We know it. We use our intuition with. Well, now you're saying, you utilize your body for information, obtaining information that's out there. Can you give us an example?
So the body is actually a super conscious space, super conscious and super, super subtle. It's like, if you have a person that says, I want $1 million, I'd like to have $1 million, and the body's like, oh, well, there's $1 million under our right hand right here, that your body could reach down and pick it up, and there you have it. And you're carrying an energy about the $1 million that it has to be 7 long years of struggle and just barely making it, and on and on. Your
so
body
that's
like,
the mind, though. Where's it at in the body?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I'm sorry. So we were talking about, so the illusions. It's going to take me 7 years to get there, right? But what is the body? I mean, how can I tap into?
So the body doesn't have a point of view about anything that you would like to create, or how you would like to create it, or if you choose to be sick or healthy, it doesn't have a point of view. It's like, oh, okay, let's do that. Oh, okay, let's do that. Like, there's no point of view. It's very, very subtle. It's very, very powerful. And it really keys into your energies, because you are the captain of the ship. Always, always, always. So just start being aware of your inner dialogue, of what you're actually telling yourself. If you're saying one thing, but actually choosing a different energy, then, so that kind of keeps it skewed all the time. It's like, it's really important right now to step into what you do know is true and authentic for you. And if it's not true and authentic, what would it be like for it to change with ease?
All right. I'm going to open up the chat for questions. Please do not call in, even though it says it there. I can't remove that number. We get rid of the Blog Talk Radio because apparently if there's too much technology between Jackie and I, nothing works. So I went to the simplest form of call me on my phone. So this number here has been disabled because the show is not up and running. Anybody has any questions for Jackie on bringing something into your world that you would like, that you've always wanted? What is it that you visualize? What is it that you really want? I think I saw a dragonfly out there saying my future rescue farm. Would you not want it now, dragonfly? And so this is a great thing. I want to kind of go there, dragonfly. I'm not reading your mind or anything, but the way she phrased it, my future rescue farm, she could have that today, right?
Well, yeah, and I would also maybe change the word rescue, because the animals are so powerful. Like, they're choosing also. So, when I did my holistic horse rehab facility for 15 years, one of the biggest lessons I found was that people who chose to say rescue or label it that way, or, that was the programs they were running, were actually some of the most unkind people, because they were angry with people for the damage to the animals. So it wasn't a kind space to try to function in, or even, there was just a lot of anger towards people, understandably, and, what other possibilities are there in that space. So, maybe the rehab, or, play with the word, that maybe it's a little different than rescue, is because the animals that are rescued oftentimes are willing to die for their person, and they don't have a point of view about it. So what's really to rescue? Did you just take them out of a situation that they actually, that was their mission? I don't know, right? I'm just throwing it out there. It's like, be aware, be aware, be aware. Ask the questions, anytime the animals that came to me, several vets had already said, put it down, we can't do another thing for it. And that's when the owners would find me. My first question was always to the animal, do you even want to live? Do you want to live? And if it was a no, then it was honoring to not worry about it.
Yeah.
You know, that was the answer. They don't have a point of view about a lot of this. They already know their gifts and capacities.
Oh, okay. I'm going to take a brief pause for the cause here. Down below, there is a banner going. If you want to if you want to reach out to Jacque Chapman, it's JacqueChapman.com. She is starting up, I think, a Rumble or a YouTube channel. I'm not sure. She could talk about that soon. Anybody else has something out there, like Dragonfly said, she's looking forward to helping animals in the future, and manifested whatever it is. There's something that you've been sitting on the fence for, and what is your excuse for actually not having it? Or maybe sometimes we think we want it and we don't. How about that, Jacque?
Again, you're the captain of the ship. You get to be very aware of what the inner dialogue is compared to what's coming out your mouth. Those can be two totally different things if you're not paying attention. Others around you may perceive it, and you may not even perceive it. And it's just there's so much to be said right now for taking care of you correctly, however that looks. Making sure your body's thriving, making sure you're thriving, making sure that you're waking up every single day to a life and a living that you absolutely love. What would it be like to have that?
Well, if I've never had it, how would I know?
Well, and I get you do know, though.
Yeah, there's a part that all of us do know. It's true. So it's funny because it's somewhere along this last 4 or 5 years, people would always say, well, like I'm trying to think of the word, humanitarian project, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's 5 years later. Has that changed for anybody, or has it made you? Have you already gotten it, or do you still have your plans? And to me, that was, I hate to say this, but it almost seemed like, and we're getting awfully close to finally something happening. But that's what I'm always saying, is we're always getting close. Every day we're getting close. But what about those dreams? I mean, are we still have those dreams? Are we still ready for it? I don't know. I can't speak for everybody, but is there something as simple as just having a family, having love? I'm older. I lost a lot of my family, my loved ones. I miss them dearly. I struggle with that. We all want to pick up a phone and call somebody who has left us, but there's a part of me that is also still back there with them, which I've always got to find that essences of myself and pull it forward to move forward, right? And that is very difficult, whether it doesn't matter what age you are either. I mean, everybody has dealt with loss. We're talking about loss of pets, loss of animals, but also the loss of our own heartstrings too. So if anybody out on Rumble has something, and you just need a little a different perspective of looking at something that you want to manifest, Jacque might be able to help you.
Well, and I would like to invite everyone. I'm going to be doing a creationship class June the 25th.
Is that on your classes and events?
It's on my website.
I got it.
You'll have to email me to just say you want to get registered, and then we can connect from there. And I apologize. I was working on my website today, and I didn't want to get too stressed out with doing the show today too, and because a lot of it was pretty intense. So that class is coming up. For those that want to start playing in the creation spaces, this one is going to be amazing. It will be a space where you can ask your questions ahead of time so that we can play into those spaces. I find that when we are together, creating together, we're far more powerful than when we're just out creating by ourselves. So this is an invitation to a different possibility and a very different way of creating. The way we've been told how to create is not the way we're designed to create. So So thank you, Janine.
All right, so let me just read this for the people that may not be able to see it on screen. It says, what is creationship? It's the art of creating a life and living. You love waking up, living a life that you love waking up to each day. And that's what we're all striving to get to, but everybody thinks that Nisera Gesera is going to do it. Creation is the beginning of the end of separation. This is an introductory live stream class and 75-minute introduction to the art of creation. Welcome home. Opening the doors to greater, kinder futures begin here. Here we are laying the groundwork for your best life ever so far. What are you ready for now? So June 25th, 6 o'clock PST time. Do the math for your time zone. And then you can be joined on Zoom or on your phone. Please send an email registration request to Jackie@JacqueChapman.com. And I'm trying to see, yes, I have it down below on the banner if you want to go back and see this at another time. So that's June 25th. And today is the 11th, and it's only $75. Woo!
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like I said, the creation, the way we've been told how to create and the way we actually create and the way we're designed to create are two very different spaces to play in. And I wouldn't say the first one is play. It's a lot of hard work and sweat, and it's never been made out to be fun.
Yeah. So again, she was talking about animals are the bridge to the awareness. This show started about an hour ago, and I see people are just jumping on now. I never know, if in any case you can reach Jackie through her email at another time if you want that class. I think that would be a beautiful thing. Once you get into Jackie's energy, you're going to be really glad that you did this. Let me just say that much. Let's see what else we have out here. PJ Patterson is from Canada, says, I can honestly say I'm living the project I manifested without Nisera. Teaching
Awesome.
food gardens, almost ready for tour in classes. Just get to it, folks, is what she's saying.
Love it.
I know.
Yeah.
I love it too, because, there were so many things that were put out there, and everybody when I first got into this, I didn't even know, let me just stop sharing this here. I didn't even know about this, Nisera Gesera, because I was just so focused on bringing people onto my show, just doing what I was doing. And then somebody says, well, what's your humanitarian project? I just kind of thought, and I said, well, it's me bringing people to you for the information. That's how I looked at it. And like, oh, no, you got to do this. And I'm like, well, okay. But, and I couldn't figure out what were all the details to this Nisera Gesera. And I know that the conversation and the talk of it kind of went to lull, but a lot of people still have those dreams in all that.
Yeah, and how much did the doors open even further and wider and greater, just having the question of a project for humanity, even though that had never been a thought. And it's like, how much more did that open you up to totally different possibilities? And I know for me, even, it's like, well, it was not something I knew right away. And the longer I've sat with it, there's all these other different awarenesses starting to show up. This is such a time of expansion right now.
Yeah. I cut off the H here, but this is Hula Hoop up here saying, I've opened my heart for the healing center to be able to make our hyperbaric chambers free for all veterans, firefighters, and first responders. And so she's constantly giving. And we kind of talked about that. If you don't mind going there, do you have to run? Because we're past the hour, Jackie.
I'm okay for a little bit longer. I have a produce farm I like to go to on Tuesdays. So,
okay.
But yeah, we can certainly play here.
Yeah, just and then I just lost my train of thought. What was Hula Hoop saying here?
So she says she opened her heart for the healing center.
So you and I earlier did talk about people that are always helping, giving things away, and then there's people that take things, right? And finding the balance. And then I realize I'm one of those that just loves to give. But the minute that you say that you want to send me something, what's your address, Janine? I'm like, well, you don't have to do that. I just get all awkward. you know.
Mm.
They're like, I don't, it's weird. I go into this weird energy of mine, and in order to what do they usually say? In order to receive, in order to give, you must receive, and vice versa, and all the stuff that they brainwashed us with. But actually, go ahead.
Well, gifting and receiving is the simultaneity. It is, they are always together. And it's like most of us, as good as we become with our own gifts, the biggest challenge we have is receiving our gifts for ourselves. That you'll find that the things you're able to create for other people and play in their spaces with will be some of the greatest gifts you can give yourself as well. And receiving that is huge. Healing is always receiving, and it's a huge space of receiving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's beautiful. Let me tell you, this community here that is here today, they're pretty awesome people. I decided I wasn't going to have the conventional truthers out there. I wanted the real people, and that, to me, in my eyes, hula hoops the real deal. Dragonfly's the real deal. You are Jackie, and all of you guys answered the call. It was amazing that I threw it out there. I was just like everyone else. You're throwing your hands up in the air. You say, I don't know what to believe anymore. Blah blah blah. And I constantly get people saying, "Did you hear this? What they said out there?" There's a guy out there right now who's saying he's John F. Kennedy Jr. And people are saying, is he just wearing a mask in disguise? Is that him under there? I'm like, oh my God, stop. Just, it's everybody is John F. Kennedy Jr., and so I just decided that I need to just get everyday people. And that's what's going to be my show. And I tell you, that was a gift from God, just saying that, because look at all these beautiful people on Rumble. We have Ames out there. We have Buckshot. We have Jackie, and then Celeste just joined us. She did one show with us. And I do have Lance Schulter coming on, because I did make a video of me making my smoothies, and it's just one version of my smoothies. And we're going to talk about products coming up on Thursday. So please join us. Join me with that. And we're also going to talk a lot about algae, and we're going to go there because a lot of people don't have enough information. There's so many variations of algae out there in the healing properties of it. So if anybody else has any questions for Jackie while we have her for 2 more minutes. So Hula Hoop is letting me know. This is breaking news, you guys. Hang on to your hats. So Hula Hoop just let me know that she's Princess Diana. I'm trying to do the hula hoop. I'm not trying to do the dance. All right. So yeah, let's see here. So PJ Patterson, if anyone has a question out there, I know there's a little bit of a delay. Jackie will take 1 question or 2, whatever comes up. And PJ is saying it is good to be honestly tired in the evening and waking up early and getting started again. I'm also able to limit my contacts with the world. And for now, that's working out. Tired and happy. Well, it's good to know that. Yeah, she's got the balance.
Yeah, we're not afraid of hard work. I mean, that's one thing I can say for most of humanity. They're not afraid to get sweaty. You're not afraid to get dirty. And that balance is huge. That balance is huge. So that, gifting and receiving, the simultaneity is all in that space you're speaking to. That's cool.
Yeah, and so if there's just one little thing that you say, boy, if I could change my life, and I kind of wish that Kearns was in here. So if you wanted to give a little gift to Kearns was on my channel the other night, and he's been looking for love, and he's went his whole life without. I don't want to go into it too much, but I think he said on the channel the other night, he's 59 years old, but he just wants to get through all of this stuff. And find that special person. What do you say for somebody that is looking for love right now?
Yeah, again, it's like, what would it be like to have that person, that connection, that relationship with someone amazing, and what would it be like to have someone that is that adores you and that you adore? what would it be like to create more kindness in your life through ways you didn't even know you had possible? And my favorite question is, what would it be like for all of this to turn out way better than you could have ever imagined?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I think everybody is going for, because when they heard about everything that was coming to us, um, it was pretty much bliss, living a life of bliss, no lies. But you know, how we have to understand what it is that they took away from us. And I'm going to be doing more shows on that in the near future, right? About those old buildings out there. Every one of those buildings were built in the 1800s. They stamped them themselves, or they changed a particular letter or something like that, and it was just all hidden from us. And why is it hidden? That's the main thing. What is it that they wanted to do, was have more control over us, and so on and so forth. It all, in my eyes, it all started with the Titanic, right? Once the Titanic was going down. Now I will leave you with this: they're the Titanic and we are not. Anything else? Yeah. Any parting words here?
Just I love the energy of today's call and the people that are on. Yes to anything you're asking to create. Just, it's a huge yes. Everything's available, and anything is possible right now. So play and play bigger. Be willing to have everything you know is available, and even beyond that. Like, start asking for some miracles.
Yeah. So when people come to you for, and I'm going to show your screen one more time, and then we'll part our ways, because you got to go get that fruit, yes. Vegetables. Yeah, you don't want to miss out on it. So this is JacqueChapman.com. It all begins with you. And we were talking about animals are the bridge to awareness. Utilize all this information somehow. If you have to, go back and replay it, and add the value to your life. Thank you so much, Jacque, for being here. I think I don't know what my schedule is, to be honest with you, and next time we'll have you on, but we're going to fit you in somewhere. If you guys really got what Jacque was coming from, talking about the body, talking about the animals, talking about the energies, give me a thumbs up right now, and just so that I could see, and just see where you guys are at. When they're quiet, I think they're listening, they're paying attention, and I love it. I love it. So everyone truly appreciated the show, as I have. Just let me know with a thumbs up. Thank you again, Jacque.
Thank you, Janine.
All right. And there's MJ giving me about 6 thumbs up. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much. We'll see you on Thursday. And if something happens, I'll probably be on Wednesday beforehand. But right now I have a show scheduled on algae. That'll be interesting. And then Jacque is going to come back and talk about the debt clock. We talked about that earlier. Just wasn't enough time today. Looking forward to it. Maybe we can get you in on I know you're available on a certain time and day. Maybe we'll try to get squeeze you in on a morning show. I don't have a problem doing 2 shows in one day. All right. Okay. Thank you all. Good night and blessings. And now we turn the page.